All right, so as you would have seen in Blackboard, I'm going to give you a few examples of different kinds of markets, and I just want you to kind of categorize them. Are they monopoly? Are they monopsony, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, perfect competition? Okay. Um, these are going to be subjective. Not everybody's going to come up with the same answer because it kind of depends on your frame of mind, and I guess not frame of mind, but it depends on your view of that market and where you kind of draw the line. But I could see a couple answers being more or less correct, and sometimes it might be, oh, is it monopoly? Is it monopolist? Or is it monopolistic competition? Is it perfect competition? Um, that might happen, or is it monopolistic competition or oligopoly? Is it monopoly? But you're not going to get is it monopoly or perfect competition. So just keep that in mind. Um, some markets are more similar than others. Put it like that. Okay. Okay. What kinds of markets are the following? Again, this is subjective. The bachelor or bachelorette, when the bachelor or bachelorette is the buyer and the suitors are the seller. Okay. So in this case, there's only one buyer and there's many suitors. So in that case, I would think it would be monopsony, in my opinion. Okay. What about when NFL teams are the buyers and starting QBs are the sellers? So there are 32 NFL teams. So maybe a little bit more than I would consider oligopoly. They're kind of they're the buyers, so I guess I shouldn't say they're competing. In this particular example, I have them as the buyers. So the starting QBs, so maybe there are also 32 of them. So they're more or less like kind of perfectly matched. They're differentiated. So Tom Brady isn't the same as Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz isn't the same as Jackson, and Jackson isn't the same as Mahomes and all that. And if those names mean nothing to you, that doesn't matter. Just say person one, person two, person three. Okay. So I would consider these kind of differentiated. There's 32 starting QBs. Maybe on the market at any given time, it might be, closer to 10 or 11. So I would consider it monopolistic competition. Maybe if there's only like 2 or 3 starting QBs on the market in any particular year, then I would revise my definition down to oligopoly. And if if there's a ton, then only if there's a ton. Like if there's like 100 people vying to be a starting QB, and they're all relatively of the same quality, I would say they're perfectly competitive. Okay. So that kind of goes with this one. NFL teams are the buyer and special teams players are the sellers. So there are 22 special teams players. Kind of they come off the practice squad. And if you don't know football, that's fine. You don't like if you got this answer wrong on Blackboard. Ooh, these are ungraded, so don't worry. But I'm giving you the background. Special teams players are relatively replaceable. They'll tend to be practice squad people who kind of got bumped up, or they might be like your third string defensive tackle or something like that. They tend to play to give the other people a rest. So a lot of special teams players I would consider relatively replaceable even for the NFL, or I guess especially for the NFL. Even though it's the NFL, they're pretty replaceable. They're probably not making a Tom Brady level contract. So I would consider them to be perfectly competitive. Maybe, but I doubt it. Might be monopolistically competitive, but probably perfectly competitive. Okay, they are a little differentiated, but not that much, like all things considered. Okay. What about the big four music labels? Okay, so if the big four music labels are selling you music, and they're selling them to music listeners who are the buyers, I mean, there are billions of music listeners in the world. I would assume most people are. Big four music labels, so I already have it in there. There's four of them. So there's only a few of them, so I would consider that an oligopoly. And I kind of gave that away earlier. So there you go. Restaurants and hungry people. So if restaurants is the good, food that I want in my mouth is the good, I would consider that monopolistically competitive. The more specific the restaurant becomes, um, the uh, the more the less number of sellers basically. So the more restricted the market becomes. So if I'm looking at um, upscale restaurants in the Lower East Side of Manhattan that are Italian, restaurants that are BYOs, right? That might be no, it's probably not a monopoly, but that'll probably be monopolistically competitive at the most, but more likely oligopoly because there might be like 6 or 7 of them. Um, you know, if I'm looking at restaurants, but I'm specifying I only want restaurants within a 3 block radius, then probably becomes more oligopolistic because there's probably only a few of them. If you're looking for any Chinese or any pizza place in West Philly, then your answer is probably going to be closer, somewhere between monopolistic competition and perfect competition, depending on how much you differentiate the taste of pizza. If all pizza tastes the same to you, then it'll probably be perfectly competitive where you only care about the price. If you care a lot about the different taste of the pizza, then there'd be more monopolistic competition.